Good evening and welcome to the May Recreation Commissioners meeting. I'd like to start off with a notice of recording. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast on Channel 18 and in accordance with the MCL Chapter 3820. We must inquire whether anyone is taping this meeting and to please make their presence known.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sandra's just going to use the minutes through the recording. She's not taping it tonight.
Okay, thank you so much. And I will begin with a brief roll call. We'll start off with Jim.
Present.
Jim.
Which Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll call you
Well,
James tonight.
Perfect.
James.
James is here.
Sharon. And you're off mute, but there we go.
Sharon is present.
Thank you. Tim
Jim is present.
and Jim.
Present.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept the minutes from our April meeting.
I need to abstain from those, just so you know, just for the record, so I was not here.
Motion.
Second that motion. Those that were present in the meeting, if you would acknowledge your approval of the meeting. So Renee, I approve the minutes.
Tim, I approve the minutes.
All right, thank you. We will ask Brendan when he joins us. All right, moving right along, let's go into our old business. Do we have any old business that we need to discuss? All righty, moving into our new business. It is my pleasure to introduce Sharon Brown and Jim O'Leary to the Recreation Commission. We will have a formal introduction in our June meeting of all the members that have joined us and one member that will be retiring out. But welcome to your first Recreation Commission meeting.
Thank you.
We will start off with a youth commissioner report that this evening John Gleason will provide.
Hi, thanks, Renee. Unfortunately, the youth commission members that usually attend the meeting could not be here tonight with us. So just want to give a brief update of what they're doing. This past month in April on the 12th, we attended, or they ran the youth One Love event at Barnstable High School for sophomores. So it's it gives information about healthy and unhealthy relationships. And we watch a movie, and then there's discussion questions that they talk about with their peers, with the youth commissioners and adults present to help them guide them through what healthy and unhealthy relationships are. They've done that for the past few years now. It's a great event. They first started doing it with seniors, and over time have moved it down all the way to sophomores because they felt like the sophomores were old enough to take in this information and use it going forward, where seniors it was almost a little too late for them to get this information. They've already established themselves with, relationships with families, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, you name the relationship they're in. So they did sophomores and it went really well. They also helped out with a One Love event at Falmouth Academy on April 27th. And they'll be doing other One Love events at other schools like Pope John Paul and possibly Sturgis. So it's good for them to be involved in those sort of things. They had their normal meetings on April 11th and 25th. They meet twice a month. And then they do meet other times for subcommittee meetings. And they did meet about the One Love to get ready for the event. And they met about the Youth Summit, which is coming up. That's for seventh graders, where we bring seventh graders in the past to Cape Cod Community College, but last year during COVID changes, we switched over to using the BACC and the school itself. And I believe that's where we'll be again this year. We'll be utilizing the school and the BACC to host the youth summit, and that's coming up in the near future. And I'm sure by the next meeting, they'll give more information about that. But that was kind of it for the youth commission for the night.
And my question is the date for that? They're still working out those details?
I believe so. I haven't heard from George yet officially what the date is. And as soon as we find out about it, we can certainly pass the word on.
Okay, and so for the record, so that it's in our meetings, can you just repeat when their meetings are, should any of the recreation commissioners like to participate in those meetings, which is
Yeah,
one
usually
thing?
they meet the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. Usually the first one, I believe, is on Zoom, and the second one is usually in person. Their agendas get posted to the town website like this does, and they meet again like twice a month, and then they do other subcommittee meetings throughout the year.
All righty.
Second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
Any other, and the time?
6:30, and usually they go about an hour and a half, depending on how much stuff they have on their plate, which usually a lot, but the meetings are similar to this. Yeah, so usually about an hour or so, maybe more if there's a big event approaching, but they're pretty good with their time.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions from any of the other commissioners about the Youth Commission report? That is led by George Noonan. All righty, so we're gonna move to the next agenda item, and that will be, John, your report on the recreation staff.
Sure, thank you very much, and welcome to the new rec commissioners. It's nice to have you here, and look forward to getting to know you over the next couple months. It started off just as a note is I attended the youth summit. The One Love, I'm sorry, I attended the One Love event at the high school to help out the youth commission. That was great. Always like to help them out. It was interesting because my oldest child is a sophomore, so I just made sure that we were not in the same group, so I could discuss some things with some other children. But it was a fun event. They did really good job. Again, always fun to be a part of. Last meeting, we talked about the pickleball tournament coming up at the end of the month at the Marstons Mills courts. And I met this month with the person running the event, Mickey Cahoon. He's from New England Pickleball Tour, and just made sure that he was all set for his event. If he had any questions, and he provided us the first installment of payment for the event to rent out the courts. He's pretty excited. I think he's got about 82 players signed up at the moment. He was hoping to get about 100 to 120 by the end of the month for that. But things seem to be going well for his first tournament he's providing, and I'm glad he chose Barnstable as his site. Coming up later at the end of the month, the Best Buddies Challenge will be taking place at Craigville Beach, and they also utilize Covels Beach. They have a new person, Paul Curley, who's from off Cape, who managed kind of coordinating the event for the Best Buddies. So I met with him to make sure that he's all squared away to use Craigville and Covels for the event, and things are running smoothly since he's new. And that was a great meeting with him. Usually about every other month, we meet with other recreational professionals from the Cape and Islands, and we met this month to discuss, kind of what's going on in our communities. And it's always nice to, gain information from them of what they're dealing with, or giving them the information of what we're dealing with here in Barnstable. Obviously, we are the biggest recreation department on the Cape, and one of the biggest ones in the state. So we kind of do offer a lot more than we receive. But again, they're dealing with some stuff that we don't encounter all the time, and it's nice to get their information. So that was a good meeting that some of us attended this month. Throughout the past month, as we're getting into this nicer weather, issued a bunch of field permits for users. So we have a lot of baseball teams out there. We have flag football, we have lacrosse, softball, you name it, a lot of things going on. So we have all the permits issued. And with issuing those permits, we have 2 fields that have lights. We have McKeon Field and we have Lombard Field. So I need to make sure with those permits that I coordinate the lights. We use a company called Musco Lighting, and they have a software system that I can pre-arrange the lights for the season and kind of set it and forget it, and the lights automatically come on and they automatically come off. So I make sure that those are all squared away for the users, and if they have any cancellations, they have the ability to shut the lights off themselves, and then I can rearrange another night for them at a later date. This past week, we had some infield work done at Lombard Field. So the clay that they originally put at Lombard was such a really fine clay that needed to be watered all the time. And unfortunately, with DPW's limitations, they can't water, that infield all the time. So we got some new clay infield mix and mix it in with the old to kind of preserve the dryness of the clay. So hopefully it'll last a little bit longer if we go through some dry spells. Last but not least, and kind of administrative type stuff is, I talk about it every month. Summer positions are available. We need camp counselors, we need lifeguards, we need gate attendants, we need beach aides. I'm sure Mark needs staff here throughout the summer in the building. We have positions in need. So if anyone has any family friends that are looking for work, whether they're 14 years or older, we're looking for staff. So please guide anyone to our website for those openings. Aquatics, as we get nicer weather, beaches become more of a forefront in our minds. So again, people need to purchase their parking permits for the season. So if they haven't done that, we're sending out one more email this week as kind of a last reminder that it's time to get your parking permit. Right now, we've issued about 11,500 permits, and the turnaround time is about 10 days at the moment for online. So we want to make sure people have those on their vehicles by Memorial Day weekend is the best, but then shortly thereafter. But we're about a 9 to 10 day turnaround as we speak. But if people continue to wait and then we get a rush at the end, that wait time will be much longer than a week and a half. So just encourage people in the public to purchase that online or through the mail.
And John, let me just jump in here. We no longer are doing it in person. Those are the 2 options.
Correct. The only 2 options are by the mail or by online. And we mail back your sticker to you, or you can come pick it up if you desire to do that. But the turnaround time online, like I said, is about 10 days. Mail-ins is a little bit quicker than that. But again, if we start getting an influx of mail, it takes us longer to process. This past weekend, we held our first lifeguard tryout. We had 6 lifeguards try out. We originally had about 12 or 13 on the schedule, but only 6 attended because some others got confused and are signing up for the next tryout on May 13th. We also have a tryout on June 3rd, and I'm sure we'll be doing multiple other tryouts to get as many lifeguards for the summer as possible. By next meeting, I'm sure I'll have a much better update about how many lifeguards we have and where we're going to have them for the season. We hope to put them at the major sites and go from there to see, depending on how we do with recruiting. We are starting to set up the beaches, so we're out and about making sure that the beaches are set up and have everything we need. Most important is safety equipment, that we have surfboards, backboards, AEDs, first aid equipment. The lifeguard chairs are all set up. The gate booths are put out. So we're prepping for the start of the season, which is Memorial Day weekend, which we open up weekends only till the end of June. But we're in the process of getting all those things ready. Last but not least, kind of in the lifeguard world, is we are doing a lifeguard training for anyone that's 15 years and older. We are doing a training starting May 21st through June 11th, 4 Sundays. From 8:30 to about 5 o'clock, give or take. We'll train anyone that's eligible that wants to be a lifeguard. And as long as they're 15 years or older, we will train them up. We did have an older gentleman come to the first tryout, which was nice. to see. I think I talked about that in the past where during COVID, a lot of former lifeguards from the 70s, 80s, 90s were coming back to communities or to pools to become lifeguards. And we saw our first person that tried out, and hopefully we can get them on board. Because again, anybody is good as long as they can pass the tests and fulfill the requirements. We'll hire them as long as they can do the job. Last but not least, at the beaches, we did lose our vendor at Calmus, and we are actively promoting getting someone new in there. We have 2 or 3 people that are interested, and we should have someone in there for the season. But due to some personal reasons, the vendor couldn't keep going, so we'll have to seek someone out. So, but we're on top of it. We got a couple irons in the fire, and hopefully we'll settle that very, very soon. Programming wise, we held our summer leisure program registration on April 11th, and this was by far, I think Sandra can attest, one of our best registrations that we've had in quite some time. It went very smoothly. We filled up a lot of spaces. We currently only have 9 spaces available in all our programs. And that's tremendous to see. We have a lot more kids than we did last year. We're hoping that we can round out Centerville Recreation Building with the 9 spots. Hopefully we can fill that up and be squared away for the summer for Mickey, who runs that program. Our program staff prepared this past month with all our programs and went into the brochure. We finished up the brochure and it went out to the schools last week. We have registration on May 10th for that. And that's kind of like our swimming, sailing, tennis, gymnastics. We have a volleyball league at the HYCC. We have some skating programs here that Mark oversees in the building. But all the summer registration programs will be on the 10th. We had our April school vacations. We talk about that every school vacation month. We had 22 kids in the program for the vacation program, which was full. And they go on a bunch of field trips. They do fun and games, arts and crafts. During April vacation, the weather was quite nice, so they got to go to the beach and hang out and just enjoy the outdoors. And that was a great program that we had during the month. Our skate park opened up on April 18th. And if you remember from last year, we eliminated staff at the skate park, so it was unsupervised, and it is open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to about 8 p.m. or when it gets dark out, we close it back up. But we eliminated staff and oversee, daily how things are going, but don't have someone in there all the time. And we had no issues last year, so things went really well. Our T-ball program participated in the opening day ceremonies for Barnstable Little League. They just kicked off their ceremonies on Saturday at the Russo Complex, and about 60 of our T-ballers participated in those festivities, and that was fun. And our softball program, which I talked about last time, joined the Bourne Canal League. Our first game is tonight. So after this, I'm going to head to Lombard Field and maybe catch an inning or two and see how our girls are doing. I'm hoping that they do well. Win or lose is not really a concern of ours. We just hope that they get better every day at practice, do well in games. So eventually, as they get older, they're more accustomed to that competition for high school. But again, we're just trying to teach them the fundamentals and basics. And again, they open up. It's 3rd through 5th graders tonight. Their first game is tonight. I lined the field with Kelly tonight to make sure it's all set. And they're good to go. They tipped off, or the first pitch was at 5:30. So I'll try to head over there after this. But that's my report for the month. Be glad to entertain any questions.
Let me just welcome Brendan came in, Commissioner Brendan came in for the record. Hello, Brendan. And I think we have a guest, Carolyn. I think Carolyn, hello. I think you may be from the Osterville community. Is that correct?
Yes, hi. I just a friend of mine and I had met with Paul Cusack, and we were just interested in the developments about the playground in Osterville. There's a lot of young families in the area, and we're very excited about that opportunity. So we just wanted to know how we could help, if anything. There's a lot of excitement about that. So
We appreciate you joining us, and we will have a CPC update. I'm not sure if James has anything on that, but if not, we'll make sure that we get some updates in our next meeting about that, a very exciting project.
Do
Any,
you want me to wait till the CPC update or?
yeah, why don't we wait
Yeah,
for
okay.
the CPC? Any additional questions for John?
I do. Can you guys hear me? John,
Yeah.
just real quick, I could possibly help with trying to get some summer employees. You know, I can get the word out to a lot of the, teenage kids, but I just had a couple questions. What other jobs? I know you mentioned camp counselors, lifeguards. What else do you got?
Gate attendants at the beach, that's anyone 16 years old or older. Leisure program counselors, there's gymnastics instructors, all the positions. If you go to the town website, all the positions are listed. You can click on recreation and it will fund out everything else and just leave recreation, or you could click on the ones for the building and it will separate all that out. We're in the summertime, we're pretty much beach and beach heavy. We hire close to 150 staff for the beach, so that takes a lot of staff to do that. Leisure program is kind of second behind that, and I'm sure Mickey is still interviewing and looking for camp counselors. So usually that's 16 years and above as well, of all kinds. We like to have a mix of kids that are athletic, that can play the fun and games with the kids, but we also need kids that are more inclined with the arts and crafts, that can do more like the talent show type of thing. So we need a kind of a well-rounded staff to work with the kids. So I know you kind of deal with a lot of athletes, but if you have anyone in general, we're just looking for bodies to fill the positions with good interviews, so we can hire people for the summer. So any help would be appreciated. Driving them to the website, or even just driving them to me or George Noonan, and we can funnel them to the right person to get all the information they need.
And they have to be Barnstable residents, of course.
No, I mean, anyone can work for us. I mean, they could be from Sandwich, Mashpee, Falmouth, Yarmouth, Dennis. It doesn't matter. There's not a requirement to work for us. It's just them a willing desire to do those jobs and to get to the places that we have them. So they can come from anywhere. I mean, we've had kids from Brewster or Orleans that have worked for us as lifeguards in the past because they would train at the YMCA afterwards. So it worked out well for them to do that. So we'll take anyone as long as they fit our needs and are good people and willing to do the job.
I'll get an email out, I'll add it to an email and let them know.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Tim.
And also to help you out, John, there are many newcomers that have moved into our community. And I don't know if you've seen the signs about, there are some newcomer meetings. And I know that the Methodist Church in Osterville, I think just about a week ago, hosted their second newcomers meeting. And so that's a place that we can go and reach out to those that are new to community, introduce them to recreation, and more importantly, some of our needs, especially in the area of lifeguards. So I will take that on, and I would encourage all the recreation commissioners out in the community, if you are involved in any group like a newcomers group or any organizations that you are active in, we have quite an opportunity to get young folks and old involved in some exciting summer work with our summer programs. So reach out to that group. questions for John before we move over to, I believe, markets next and then the CPC report?
I just had a quick question on beach stickers, John. You know, I obviously follow Town of Barnstable on Facebook. Can they get out a couple of blasts of, you know, Memorial Day's coming, that it's gonna take you 10 days to get? Could they get that out for you?
Yeah, absolutely. We work with them on a routine basis, and they've put out a decent amount already. And I'm sure we'll continue on with their messaging. And then we try to usually we'll repost it or do our own as well. But they have a lot, you know, the town Facebook page has a lot larger audience than we do. But yes, they will definitely get that word out. They're really good about helping us out with that. So again, you know, the sooner we get closer to, you know, Memorial Day weekend, it seems like people, or the nicer weather, they'll start, you know, doing it. But now that it's only through the mail or online, you can't just come in and get it and walk out the door. There's a process to it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, we would like people to, we're on year 4 now of us doing it this way. And we're hoping that people slowly but surely understand that you know, we sell them in January, that they start applying for these things in January and February and March, and not wait till the last minute to accomplish this task. But, you know, we will work diligently to get them back to the residents as quickly as we possibly can. We have a great staff that comes in on a daily routine that will process them. I take some home at night and do them at night or on the weekend. I processed close to about 170 myself yesterday on a Sunday at home. So we do anything we possibly can to get them done as soon as possible.
Okay, thanks, John.
One more item, John. I know that very often we reach out to the Craigville community, and we're very sensitive to the fact that Best Buddies, there's a lot of activity and sometimes roads aren't as accessible as they would otherwise be. But we really, you know, thank that community for allowing us to host an event at this scale. And it's that one weekend. I don't know if you want to say anything more about that for me.
Yeah, but Barnstable Police will usually send out some information, and they usually will have a blinking billboard on the streets as well to notify people that the event's coming. Because I believe the next weekend after theirs is also the Higher Sprint Triathlon. So you know, that area in Osterville a little bit, and Centerville has two events, you know, almost back-to-back weekends that tie up some roads during the morning hours. The Craigville extends a little bit more there during the morning. That's kind of morning and until mid-afternoon. But they're, you know, big events that will tie up some roads with bikers or runners.
And so I reach out to those communities and just say thank you for understanding that these are some of the events that allow us to do the things that we do for our town in the area of recreation. And we're very conscious of that and don't want to abuse that. But thank you, John, for that great report. I'll move right into Mark Bordley and your report, your staff report.
Thanks, Renee, and welcome to the new commissioners. I'll start off with, as John mentioned, I attended also and participated in the One Love event at Barnstable High School with the Youth Commission. As John said, it's a good event, and I like being there and helping out as much as I can to kind of enlighten the kids on kind of trying to steer them in a better direction as they move forward and learn how to build relationships on their own. We do have a couple summer positions that'll get posted onto the town website this week. We're looking for help with our basketball clinic that'll be ran late June. Tim, if you know any guys, I'll let you know when those become live so you have a direct link. And then with our summer volleyball league program, which also starts late June and runs through middle of August. Also on a kind of administrative side, we are diving a little deeper into the ongoing renewals of the board ads, banner ads, and some different advertising opportunities within the HYCC. We're really going to focus in on the gym, the Butler rink, kind of get those repopulated. And there's a few more sites over in the Kennedy rink that we want to try and get everything filled or back to a kind of pre-COVID level. Hopefully by sometime this summer. So when we hit the ground in September with hockey season, everything is kind of populated and we have everybody on a regular kind of renewal schedule, everybody being the same times. So that's ongoing right now. In the ice world, this past weekend, we hosted the 26th Coast Guard Commandant's Cup. It was the first time back since 2019. We had over 7 teams, over 100 adults participating, families and friends. It was a great kind of injection of life into the center, the end of April, to have this little tournament that happened. We look forward to them coming back again next year and hopefully getting a few more teams. For them, it was great to come back and kind of get off the ground again and hopefully gain some more traction and get back to greater numbers that they used to have kind of a long time ago when this tournament surfaced here in Hyannis. I met with an interesting individual 2 weeks ago. He is the head of the, it's called the Great Blizz, short for Blizzard. They are a youth hockey group that specializes in hockey for special needs. We are in talks with them about securing ice for them this upcoming year. This will be their first time branching over the bridge. They currently skate out of the bog up in Plymouth, I believe, and they have an extensive program they run out there. But there's just a need and want from others who travel to them over the bridge right here from the Cape. So they're looking to kind of branch out and expand, and we're looking to kind of carve out some time to bring them in as another kind of user group during the hockey season. And we're looking forward to doing that. It looks like it's going to work, and fingers crossed, and I'll keep you guys posted. Next here is the spring session of Learn to Skate. Will be ending this weekend. We had over 110 participants throughout 5 classes. We will be offering something in the summer. Dates and times are just being worked out now. I think they're pretty close to being solidified, but I don't want to comment on that just as yet. And then we did renew the user contracts for 4 of our adult groups that skate between April and August. We kind of do those on 2 cycles throughout the year because their times change based on the usage of ice during hockey season and then post hockey season. So it was great to get those 4 groups settled and kind of back to their normal routines. In the gym and youth center, I mentioned last time, but we did have over 70 participants in the Cube New England Regional Championships. It was a great event. It was held 3 weekends ago. We actually had participants, international participants. I didn't know this, but there was a kid here from Poland who is like one of the world champs. Also didn't know, but there's like 40 different varieties of Rubik's Cube games to play. Whether it's speed, whether it's one-handed, whether it's, I'm not even sure because there's so many, and I only thought you just put the thing together or peeled off the stickers and replaced them. But that was an awesome event. They're looking to come back again next year for our second time, and they were just in love with the building. They were speaking about how they're usually like in basements of churches or VFW halls or this, that, and the other. So they were just enthralled and wowed by what we did for them. So we look forward to having that event again next year. One of our big users, Cape Cod Juniors Volleyball, has ended their season. That's pretty much an all-day Sunday event that goes on in the gym all winter and spring. We'll be looking to bring Tom Turco and that organization back next year again. Big news for the gym floor. We will be getting it resurfaced this June. The gym will be closed from June 12th to June 19th, reopening on the 20th. So the whole, everybody who uses the gym, there's so much use in there. It hadn't been done in, I think, a year. So it will be a resurface. They'll take it down just a little. We'll have to pull up some of our individual court tapings, but they will resurface. We'll put everything back down when they're done, and no one will know other than the users, who will be thrilled that it is back to tip-top condition. Our final session of indoor pickleball will be ending next week. And then we finally maxed out with our third session of SOAR with over 50 children. And once again, not every day do those kids show up, but we have over 50 kids signed up into that program, and it's gained traction. It's back to kind of where it once was. So I think we're doing pretty good there. That was kind of it. Quick one for me. Sorry. Again, I just ramble on. If I need to slow down, please tell me.
Oh, that's fine, Mark. Any questions from the commissioners? Mark, I just have one question. Are we going to remove the ice from one of the hockey rinks over the summer?
There'll be
Are we
no
gonna-
ice. There'll be no ice removal. Right now, we're kind of eyeing in on a couple extra groups that are going to be filling some extra time slots out there. So really was no need to try to melt that down this year.
Excellent. And is this the first year that we've been able to do that, or? the
Uh,
second?
No, there have been a couple of years sporadically where we did not. But this year we're really trying to actively, get some other groups in to kind of fill that ice.
That's excellent. Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioner?
Just a quick question. With the Great Bliss, is that for physical disabilities, or is it all kinds of disabilities, learning and physical?
I believe most is physical, or at least from what I'm seeing, but I believe their mantra is no hockey player left behind. So I'm pretty sure they are fully capable of taking on any type of need, but primarily what I'm seeing is those with physical disabilities, limiting them to hockey, regular hockey.
No, the reason I ask is a friend of mine, not to throw names around, but Rick Middleton for the Bruins. He coached the Olympic sled hockey team
Okay,
to a gold medal, and he's always willing to help local communities. So if there was an opportunity to have him get involved somehow, I'd be happy to reach out to him.
when we have everything settled with them, I'll surely let you know, and maybe we can kind of connect the two dots.
Great.
Thank you.
And I will mention that that's one thing that we as a commission have a desire to do, and that is to have some type of a fundraising event that we can put some of our voluntary time into, to kind of pass back to the recreation budget to offset some of the expenses. So again, we'll wait till we have our orientation and planning, but that's something that we want to do as a commission. So any other questions for Mark and his staff report? So James, you're up next with the CPC report. And James, if you would just do me a favor, since we have the two recreation commissioners, just kind of give an quick overview of your role as a Recreation Commission liaison to the CPC. Thank you.
So those who don't know, CPC is Community Preservation Committee, and you've probably never looked at this, but part of your tax bill actually goes into a fund every year that the state then matches a portion of, and it needs to be spent in kind of three areas: historic preservation, housing, right, affordable housing projects, and then the last one is open space recreation. So the town has a separate committee, and it's made up of mostly members from other committees. I am the recreation representative to CPC, right? And so the CPC board has reps like me from housing, LAPC, 5 or 6 different boards, and there's a pretty big pot of money. I forget the exact dollar amount, but I want to say it's around $8 million a year that goes into this fund. It's a big dollar amount. If you look at the projects that we've done over the years, it's it's fields like Lombard, it's fields like where the Hyannis Mets play, it's Centerville Playground, it's we gave money for the new apartment building across the street from the middle school to the St. Mary's Church in Barnstable Village, the historic renovation there. There's a ton of projects that CPC has done over the year. It's really a great program, and the fact that we get matching money from the state to help pay for that is huge. So unfortunately, I am stepping down after the June meeting. I've been involved here for about 7 years. I've been on for rec for 7 years. I've been on CPC for most of those. I have a 2.5 and an 8-month-old, a 2.5-year-old and 8-month-old. So my life is getting a little hectic between work and kids, and the witching hour of 4 to 7 p.m. It's tough to go to a couple meetings like this a month anymore, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting into coaching some youth sports. So you'll probably still see me around Barnstable Fields, but just in a different capacity. But it's been a real pleasure to serve on this board, the CPC board. Any commissioner that is interested in taking my spot on the CPC, I'd be glad to talk you through commitments if you guys want to get together after this meeting at some point. But it's a hugely impactful role when you get to deal with kind of that level of money, the decisions you get to make and help push projects through. It's really, really rewarding. And so I'll kind of jump into the update. So Carolyn, I'll answer your questions first. CPC did fund about $1 million towards the Osterville playground. The town also put in a CIP request of, these are round numbers, but just shy of $400,000. So total project of about 1.4 million. It's going to go in between the tennis courts and that Verizon building. And Renee, do you have a question or no?
I am just applauding.
Okay.
Still clapping hands.
Yeah. So the Osterville playground has been through CPC. It's been through the first reading of the town. It actually had its final reading on April 27th. I can't confirm or deny if it got through. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't have gotten through, but I didn't attend that meeting, or I didn't get to see the minutes yet. So presumably town council pushed it through last week. And then really kind of the design process starts. So John can tell you, I'm on the Centerville Playground Design Committee. It's not a fast process by any stretch of the imagination. It's unfortunate. It's the way town governments work and bid processes and all that fun stuff. But for any of those who are interested in having, a say of what goes in, there's normally a separate playground committee that gets put together. Normally that outreach is done through the civic, for this case, the Osterville Civic Association. We'll work with Mark Marinuccio, who's the town architect, if you're not familiar, and Chris Ganella, who used to be in DPW, but is now, I believe, John can tell me his title, of community outreach, or
He's the interim director of community services.
community services.
As Madeline left, he took on that responsibility. But yeah, we would, through Chris and through DPW, form a committee like Centerville to kind of tackle on the project in Osterville. And then if people that are interested don't get on the committee, because only so many people are on the committee, we would reach out through meetings to the Osterville community for input on the project, like we did with Centerville. So we would be reaching out to Osterville Village Association, Councilor Cusick, anyone that he felt was a strong person or people to be on the committee. We would take that into account and then formalize that committee and start planning and preparing for that once money's approved and go forward. And then again, if for some reason someone wasn't able to get onto that committee, we would definitely reach out and be seeking input from the community, so people's voices, will be heard, to make sure that we get as much as we can into the playground that the community does want.
Yeah, the outreach and the, really you reaching out to the town to say, hey, this is really what we're looking for here is very helpful. It's with that thought process that we work with a playground designer to really try to hone in what the community wants and needs. And that process is really, really important.
You said it's not a quick process. When would you figure plans would be designed and implementation would occur in the whole?
I mean, I want to say we passed Centerville playground like 18 months ago through CPC.
Okay.
I mean, I hope this one moves quicker than that. Our playground designer has passed away in the middle of this. We had rec, program changes between John and Patty. We had procurement change. There's like a million different things that went on with Centerville. So I'm hoping Osterville is not as long of a process, but I couldn't give you an exact date for sure. And a lot of it's due to equipment, lead time. A lot of that stuff was normally a 4 or 5 month lead time, that doubled or tripled during COVID. So hopefully some of that starts to shrink back down, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I'll put it that way.
So at least a year away, right?
Most likely at least a year.
Okay.
Yep.
But I would also say, Carolyn, your interest in coming into the meeting to find out about the work. I think we have to wait for the funding to be approved, and those individuals that James talked about in spearheading the organization for Osterville, the users of the community. I think that the most significant action that I've seen is when you have people that are engaged in the project and helping to move forward. And you could see that in the success of the pickleball fields. That took one individual who said, we really should have pickleball fields in our community. And one thing that many folks may not be aware of, we have smoke-free beaches. And that was just one letter that came in from a physician that talked about the harm of those buds in the cigarette butts in the sand and how much was accumulated. So I would just say a call to action for our community at large. The activism comes from people that get involved and help push things through. And yes, we did see a setback with the unanticipated pandemic. But James, I'll let you continue.
Sure. Carolyn, does that answer your questions or anything else on Osterville Playground or?
No, that's it. We just wanted, I have some friends who are also local business owners on Main Street who all have young children, and we all live within a mile of the center of Osterville. And I have a friend who spearheaded over in Sandwich to get a new playground for the Oak Ridge School over there. So I've talked to her a lot about her process and just how we can help out. So if there is a playground committee, we'd be very interested in just helping out in any way you guys need to, gather input from the community. So thank you for including me. And we have a lot of young families who are very interested in helping.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's not much on that side of town. I frequent over that area myself, so I'm team playground over there. I know Mark Marinuccio, again, the town architect, I believe was just waiting for demolition permits too, maybe for that rec building. So that I think has to happen before the actual playground, design can start, but it's definitely being worked on.
Yeah, we've been talking about the demolition of that building for quite some time. So
Yeah.
I think that will be coming down hopefully sooner than later, hopefully this fall. And then there's future plans for that site as well. Hopefully a basketball court, and then potentially a future bathroom, outdoor bathroom facility as well, because we have the new baseball, softball field already up and running. There's the tennis court and pickleball courts. There'll be the new playground, hopefully new basketball outdoor court with maybe street hockey tied into that as well. So I mean, it's gonna become quite the renovation of that space. And I can't imagine, people not enjoying that area to come in the future with a lot of young kids to being able to go down there and enjoy that space, hopefully in the years to come, coming up soon.
Yeah, it should draw a lot of people, which will help the small businesses in the area as well. So nice job on that.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good one. There has been, so if you are looking to get involved, I would definitely say attend those Osterville Village meetings, because there has been pushback to that. There was at one point a large scale complex that was planned there for another kind of mini HYCC that got shot down from a few members of the public, and that kind of derailed it. So those meetings are important, as a pain as they are to get to and sit through sometimes. The squeaky wheel does get heard. So
where are those?
I couldn't tell you, but the town council should be able to tell you.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep. And then in other
Let me-
Osterville playground news, oh, go ahead, Renee.
So I'll also just highlight, when we go on our road trip, we'll make sure that we include this project, since it's new and up and coming, but we often invite the representative of that town and the civic association in our road trips. So that whole community kind of gets together and looks at needs and wants.
So the other Osterville playground work that's going on is Armstrong Kelly Park, right at Main Street. Most of the work has already started there. CPC approved a few $100,000. We're just working through the final recreation restrictions on that property. So there's going to be kind of a smaller natural playground, logs and wood chips, and kind of blend in with the area. So that project was another CPC one that's been partially funded. The other CPC project that got through town council was phase 3 and 4 of the rail trail bike path. So that bike path is going to be now taken from Yarmouth to Sandwich. So CPC gave the funding to do the design work. Mass DOT has agreed to pay for a good chunk of it. So once they get the design work, kind of work out the details of the final funding of that. So that should be, that'll again be years down the road, but this was a great big first step in, hundreds of thousands of dollars of engineering and design work that'll need to be done well in advance of any construction starting. So that's that got through town council, which is good. And those are kind of the big CPC projects that are going on recently. I'm just trying to see if there's any last things that were. No, everything else was housing or historic. So, but those are the big rec projects that are going on.
Any additional questions of the commissioners for James?
Jim, however
Yep.
we should call you. When will Centerville be repaired, the playground there? That was in dire need of repair.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be totally taken down. So in this last,
Oh, really? Okay.
Again, in the CIP that was read on April 27th, there was another, I believe, 400,000, again, rough dollar amounts, to redo the field back there. So I think that got also passed through. They're trying to wrap all that work in together to not, step on toes when they're in there. But there's roughly $1 million for the playground, a couple $100,000 for the field, a couple $100,000 for the parking lot. They've done a couple $100,000 in repairs on the inside of that building. So that facility is going to get a major upgrade. Again, coming soon. So a lot of the playground design work has been done. Hopefully now they can get, if the money got passed last week, hopefully that piece of it gets turned up so that they can really get going on the playground. And there's a lot of earth moving that needs to happen for both of them. We got to kind of re-slope the parking lot to make it ADA accessible to the field and to the new playground site that's going to be shifted a little bit and down in there. But the last I heard was this fall. That might be a start of it, but maybe by next spring. again, it totally depends on this field piece of it, which if the money get passed, hopefully that speeds up, but I haven't heard any dates on the field piece of it.
And you're referring to the set across from the candy store, right? Right up on
Yes.
Main Street.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess
Yep,
I never noticed the field, so.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Um,
It's not a legal field by any stretch of the means. It doesn't match anything. The only thing that was close was a pony league field. I think what ultimately is going to happen is a little league infield with a short outfield. A few little league teams will go there to practice randomly, not sanctioned through the town, but we had a kind of a public hearing on the playground, and there was a lot of talk of the field, and the kind of general consensus was people want a little league infield so they can at least practice, but you know, one of the outfield walls was going to be like 120 or 130 feet, so it would be kind of a home run derby-esque type field. So that's, you know, it's smart to wrap it in to kind of get it all done at once.
Sure, thank you.
Any other questions? That playground in particular just did not match the increased or improved safety criteria for all of our playgrounds. So that's why it has to completely, one of the main reasons has to be completely redone. All righty, so that is what we have for our agenda. Let's see if we have any unanticipated items that we need to address or any public comment. All righty, so we also have a liaison role from the Recreation Commission to the Sandy Neck Beach Association, and they will be invited as one of our guests for our June meeting. Are there any other recommended agenda items for our June meeting? There is one other group or a category that I would like to just present to the commissioners, and that is that we have some amazing groups doing some really cool things, renting our facilities. And I thought that this would be an opportunity for some of those vendors to just highlight their programs and how what they're doing is an extension of other services. And I'm talking about one particular group that is extending the education component and using the Centerville Recreation. So if you know of a group that is renting our space and providing services in the space of recreation, definitely let me know. Those are two potential guests for our June meeting, in addition to formal introduction of our 3 new recreation commissioners, and hopefully the 4th one will be in place by then. Any other questions? Our next meeting is on Monday, June the 5th at 5:30. The other little note I'd like to make is that we're going to keep our primary meetings virtual, but we do have an award meeting in July that is in person, and maybe we can identify another meeting over the course of the 12 months that we will get together in person. The feedback that I've received is this is a convenient way for many folks to participate in their busy lives and then you know, stay active. So any feedback is appreciated. All righty, do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Second,
I'll do the roll call for the close. So James,
James is yes.
Sharon,
Sharon is yes.
Tim,
Tim is yes.
Jim,
yes.
and Brandon. I don't see him. He might have had to drop off. So Brendan, are you there? Maybe not. So again, I really do try to be very sensitive to everyone's time, especially with John going to that that game. I want to let you out of here, and I'll reach out to both of you, Jim and Sharon, individually. And it's a pleasure to meet you here in our Zoom meeting. Thank you for participating tonight. The meeting is adjourned.